House is welcoming China's attempts to be a mediator in the Middle East. And now China is holding talks between Hamas and Fatah, the two main powers in Palestine.
Well, there's no Palestine.
Well, yeah, because I don't even want to repeat those jokes, those things people say online. People say horrible things online, but you know what I mean,
right? Hamas is in charge of Gaza, which is the part that's attacking Israel, and Fatah is in charge of the West Bank, which is the other
Fatah is the
Palestinian-controlled area.
It's the Palestinian Authority,
right?
Which is usually what it's called in English language media.
And I think it's, in many ways, I think most of our viewers know what's going on there anyway in Israel. But like, it is a little strange. It's unusual to have a country where you have parts of that country that are fully administered by another government, right? But that's what Israel is sort of dealing with. And one of those parts is attacked Israel on October 7th, and there's this whole war, right?
And as we discussed in last week's podcast with Germont Ailari, that he made a very convincing claim that China may have had a hand in the October 7th massacre.
Yeah, and I think the whole thing with, he was mentioning Hamas and the Palestinian Authority both meeting with China, and the idea that they may not be as far off from each other as like conventional, like, ideas have, that like the idea is that like they don't like each other because the Palestinian Authority essentially lost power to Hamas in elections in Gaza, and then they control the West Bank, and there have been no elections in the West Bank because they're also afraid they will lose control in the West Bank to Hamas. So the idea is that they don't like each other, but Guermont's point was that they may be closer than publicly.
Yeah, connected a lot by the CCP. So the idea that the CCP is hosting the two of them as like this, they're going to meet, they're going to create peace between these two opposing sides.
I mean, the CCP recognizes the Palestinian state in a sense. So like there is a embassy in China that's like, so like the Palestinian Authority is like the recognized government according to like China's like diplomatic efforts. So it's kind of like them brokering
vassal states.
Well,
that's maybe a little, well, I don't know. That might be pretty accurate. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but like it is kind of like them being like, okay, I was going to say like the KMT and the DPP or something like that, but I don't know if that's the right analogy.
It's also not the right analogy because neither of those groups is like actively attacking mainland China or anyone else.
It's too bad. West Taiwan really needs to be a thing.
But at any rate, it is weird that these two groups are basically meeting in China for peace talks. Like the CCP really cares about peace.
Well, I mean, they did successfully negotiate something between Iran and Saudi Arabia.
Which was another interesting thing that G-Man was making, that's also part of them breaking peace talks and agreements the U.S. was making, and also leveraging Iran to also attack Israel, and basically creating this situation of instability to weaken and exhaust the U.S. And yeah, I mean, we know what's his name, that Marxist millionaire with ties to the CCP.
Rory Neville Singh?
Yeah, who seems to have provided some kind of support to at least the Colombia protesters. You see that video of somebody praising North Korea at that protest?
Oh, I think that was at...
Was that UCLA?
UCLA.
Yeah.
Yeah, or... Was it? I'm just getting confused now.
It was a different university, but the point is, yeah, a pro-Palestine protester praising North Korea, or the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Yeah, the guy said the DPRK. So anytime somebody comes to a microphone or has a megaphone and starts talking about the DPRK,
You know what side they're on.
yes, they are on the side of the DPRK.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been very, very advantageous to the Chinese Communist Party, because when these protests somehow start going, like they talk about Palestine, but then it morphs into, the real problem is the United States. We need to get rid of the United States, and maybe socialism is a good idea. You can kind of see that, like, this is a great help to the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, this is a well-known, long-standing communist tactic of taking advantage of fault lines in society and exploiting that to, further divide people, make things more extreme.
Divide and conquer.